हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। So we have seen that Bhagwan gives this teaching to Arjuna. He says that first we have to purify our mind by following the path of Karma Yoga, Upasana. We have to purify our mind. Thereafter, approach a teacher and gain self-knowledge. Understand exactly what is the nature of my own self, and also the relationship of this self with this world, with Ishvara, with Brahma. All this has to be understood properly. So this is self-knowledge. So having gained this knowledge, one should renounce all actions and meditate on the self, withdrawing all attention from everything else. Shanai shanai ruparamed buddhya dhrati grihitaya atma sanstammanak kritva na kinchidapi chintayet. One should meditate on the self. One should meditate on the self, understanding that self as Brahma, as the very nature of that Supreme. Means place our mind, our intellect on that Supreme Brahma. That is the highest form of meditation. So who is that Brahma? Who is Ishvara? The identity of Ishvara was revealed in the 7th chapter elaborately. So remembering Ishvara, meditating on Ishvara, Ishvara Swarup, that is Brahma, gaining abidance in Brahma, we can become free from this samsara here and now. By gaining abidance in self-knowledge, that jnana nishtha, if we gain while living in this world, we will become free. We will attain moksha while living only. That is called Jivan Mukti. But if we don't gain this Jivan Mukti, though we are practicing meditation constantly, then Bhagwan says that even at the time of death, if you remember Ishvara, remember that Ishvara Tattva, that Brahma, or remember Ishvara and drop this body, you will attain moksha. You will attain oneness with that Ishvara Tattva. If for any reason, again when we are practicing meditation and we fail to remember Ishvara at the time of death, but have been practicing sincerely, but at the time of death our mind is distracted, then Bhagwan says that such a person is he calls him yoga bhrashta. So he is born again to continue from where he left, to continue his sadhana till he attains moksha. Again, another possibility that if we don't gain moksha in this life and we continue meditating, we do upasana of Vaishvanara, Hiranyagarbha with the sole intention of gaining moksha, but we do upasana. Then as a result of this upasana, we attain Brahmaloka, and in Brahmaloka we gain self-knowledge and we gain moksha. So this is called Krama Mukti, Mukti in stage. Just like we take a flight, sometimes we take a direct flight, or sometimes we take a hopping flight. We don't get a direct flight, so we stop in between, change the craft also, and then we reach our destination. Similarly, some sadhaks who have done upasana, they attain Brahmalok, and thereafter they gain moksha. This is about those who strive to attain moksha. So therefore Bhagavan says in this 8th chapter that you constantly meditate and constantly try to remember me, so that when you drop this body, you will attain me, you will attain that moksha. If not, then you will have to take birth again, or will have to go to other lokas. And if a person has attained other lokas with sakama bhavana, desiring some pleasures of that other world, then once that punya is over, that person is born again. Because all these worlds, starting from Brahmalok all the way down to this world, they are all punaravarti. They are not permanent. People born, jivas born in these worlds, again are born in other worlds, means they remain in samsara only. Because all these worlds are limited by time. They are not eternal worlds. So Bhagavan talks about the time period of Brahma, the Prajapati, Vaishvanara. So 1 day of Brahma, Prajapati, is equal to 1000 Mahayugas. Mahayuga is 4 yugas put together, the time period of Satyayug, Tretayug, Dwapar Kali Yug put together is called Mahayuga. That is 43 lakhs. 43 lakhs 20,000 years. So when this Mahayuga multiplied by 1000, that is what? That is 1 day of Brahmaji. That is nearly 432 crores years. 1 day of Brahmaji. So here Bhagavan mentions this in the 17th verse, and now he tells us in the next verse what happens to those jivas who are born in the daytime of Brahmaji, Prajapati. What happens to them at the time of, means when the Prajapati goes to sleep, what happens to those jivas? So that is now said in verse number 18. Avyaktadyvaktayas sarvaha prabhavantyah ragame ratragame praliyante tatreva vyakta sanyake. Bhagavan says that when that Prajapati goes to sleep, just like when we go to sleep, we become totally, our mind, our intellect goes into avyakta only, becomes unmanifest. Though our body is maintained by the pranas, But our mana, buddhi, indriyas, they all become unmanifest when we are asleep. Same thing when the totality, when Prajapati, Brahma goes to sleep, the entire creation goes into unmanifestation, becomes unmanifest. Though the Vaishvanara, Hiranyagarbha are alive, but they have gone to sleep. Just as when we go to sleep, we are alive, and when we wake up in the same body. Similarly, when Prajapati goes to sleep, he is alive and he wakes up in the same body. But when he goes to sleep, since he is of the nature of the entire creation goes to sleep. Means entire creation along with infinite jivas, all of them go to sleep. Means all of them merge into that avyakta Shakti of Bhagwan. All the entire creation goes into avyakta, unmanifest. So avyaktat vyaktayas sarva prabhavanti haragami. And Prajapati remains asleep for a period of 1000 Mahayugas. In the same period, 430 lakh years. 432 crore years. Bhagwan is asleep. Prajapati remains asleep. And when he wakes up, the entire creation is projected again. Hiranyagarbha wakes up, Vaishvanara wakes up, and all the Srishti, the entire creation as it was before, everything gets projected in the same way. As it was in the previous day, the whole creation gets projected again. Yatha purvam akalpitam. Just as it was there in the previous kalpa, everything becomes manifest again. So avyaktat vyaktayas sarvaha prabhavanti aharagame. So at the time of beginning of that day, aharagame, all creation, means all the jivas are again manifested. They again come into manifestation in their own stages, but everything becomes manifest. See, the world as we experience it now, the same world is projected again with the same laws, with the same physics, chemistry, biology, with the same rules and regulations, everything with the same sun and the moon and stars, everything is projected in the same way. Yatha purvam akalpitam. And once manifested, then all these jivas, they continue to experience their joys and sorrows according to their own karma. So whatever karmas we have done, those karmas, they don't get destroyed when Prajapati goes to sleep. Again, when he wakes up, we get connected to our own karmas, we get connected to our own Sukshma Sharir, and we continue with our life. So, avyaktad vyaktayas sarva prabhavanti aharagame. And ratragame, then again after the whole day of Prajapati is over, means after 1000 Chaturyugas are over, means after 14 Manvantaras are over. See, as I said, this Manvantaras, 14 Manu, different Manus they come, they are born. At present we are living in Vaivasvata Manvantara. And we have these 33 types of Devatas, Aditya, Rudra and Vasus. But in different Manvantaras, there are different types of Devatas also mentioned in our scriptures. So all these Devatas also remain till the period of one Manvantara. Then their life is over. The new set of Devatas are born in the next Manvantar. So in this way, in one day of Prajapati, 14 Manvantaras are there. But after the end of all this, like now at present, as I said, the 7th Manvantara is happening, in which the 27 Chaturyugas have already passed in the 7th Manvantara. 28th Chaturyuga is going on, in which we are now at present in Kali Yuga. So, after the end of this day of Prajapati, what will happen? Again the entire creation goes into unmanifestation. Everything goes into that avyakta. So, ratragame praliyante tatra eva avyakta sanyake. Everything goes back into avyakta and remains there for the period of 1000 Mahayugas. This is one day and night of Prajapati. So like that, his entire year consists of 360 days. And his lifespan is 100 years. So in 100 years of Prajapati, 360 times every year, the whole creation is, whole world is created and again get dissolved. Means is created and goes into avyakta, then again created, again goes into avyakta. But at the end of 100 years of Prajapati, the entire creation gets totally dissolved and remains as that Sat only, remains in Ishvara potentially as Sat Roop. So that about that Bhagavan will be talking in the 9th chapter. But here he is talking about one day and night of Prajapati Brahma. What happens after 100 years of Prajapati, that Bhagavan will talk about in the 9th chapter. But in one day of Prajapati, also the infinite jivas are born, they remain, they go into avyakta, then again they are born, they remain, go into avyakta. So this goes on and on. So if we have not gained liberation, if we have not gained moksha, we will be forcefully born again and again in different life forms and we will die. So this is what is called the vast samsara. It's like a vast ocean. And only as a human being we have this opportunity to gain liberation. By Bhagwan's grace only, we have gained this human birth. If we make full use of this, we can gain liberation. Otherwise, we are born again and again. We don't know what karmas we have and in what life forms we will have to take birth again and again in this world. So, avyaktad vyaktayas sarva prabhavantyah ragame. So, everything is manifest. Then at night when he goes to sleep, Prajapati goes to sleep, everything goes into unmanifestation. Avyakta it is called. So ratragame praliyante tatra eva avyakta sanyake. From the avyakta everything is manifested and it goes back into the same avyakta. Then what happens? What happens to all the beings that Bhagwan now tells in the next verse? He says, Bhuta gramasya evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratragame vashah partha prabhavantyah ragame. Bhagwan says, Bhuta gramaha. Bhutagram means all beings. Bhuta samudayah stavara jangama lakshano ya purvasmin kalpyasit. All the beings who were there in the previous kalpa. As I said, one day of Prajapati Brahma is called kalpa. So all those beings who were present in the previous kalpa, they are again born in this kalpa also. And beings are stavara jangamam. There are beings which are stavara means stationary, like the plants, the trees. They remain at one place only. They don't move. Then there are beings who move from one place to another. So all these beings, Bhutagrama sa evayam, the same beings which were there in the previous kalpa, Bhutva bhutva praliyate, they are born again and again and again get dissolved, again are born, again they get dissolved, again they are born, again they are dissolved. So this goes on and on and on in the lifetimes of Prajapati. See, Prajapati's life itself is so vast and almost eternal for so many years. And in his lifetime, billions and billions of times beings are born and they die and again they are born. And when Prajapati is asleep, then for a long period, all of us as though remain asleep only, along with Prajapati. And when he wakes up, again we wake up and continue with our lives. So this is a vast cosmos you can't even imagine. Space-wise it is vast. Time-wise it is vast, eternal. Beings-wise it is vast, infinite. So Bhutagramasya evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratragame avasha partha, means during the day all these beings are born, and when Prajapati goes to sleep, forcefully all of us merge into that avyakta. All of us merge in that avyakta. Ratragame avashaha. Avash means helplessly. He Partha. And Prabhavati aharagame. And when Prajapati wakes up, again we are born. All these beings are born. Means all beings are helpless to take birth again and again and again. We don't have choice. We can't say, no, no, I don't want to. Many people, they think that whatever they desire, it happens. They think that, oh, I don't want to take birth again. I will not take birth again. Nobody will take your permission. We will be forcefully born again and again if we have not gained moksha. Therefore, it's very important that we understand the gravity of the situation and sincerely strive to attain moksha. And Bhagavan is telling us with so much of love that how we can attain moksha in a simple way while living in this world. So it is not difficult. Only we have to pay attention and make a firm resolve. In the 9th chapter also, Bhagavan will say that one who take a firm resolve, you consider that person as a sadhu. Sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito hi saha. So ratragame avasha partha prabhavanti aharagame. Otherwise we are forcefully born again and again. Just like when we go to sleep, when we are asleep, it is so nice because in our deep sleep we become free of all the physical problems. We become free of all our social, economical problems. We are free of all our mental problems. We are free of all sorrow, pain, suffering, everything. It seems very nice. So one may feel that, oh, I should continue sleeping. But we can't do that. Our karmas, our vasanas force us to wake up and again experience the joys and sorrows of this world. Similarly, we are in a cosmic scale. All beings are forced to take birth again and again, helplessly. That is the very nature of this world. That is the very nature of samsara. So, ratragame avasha partha prabhavati aharagame. But how come attaining Ishvara we become free? How come attaining Ishvara we are not born again? So that what is the unique nature of Ishvara, that is now revealed in the next verse. Bhagavan says, Parastasmato bhavonyah avyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nakshatsu na vinashyate. Bhagavan says कि परः तस्मात्तु भावः अन्यः अव्यक्तः अव्यक्तात् सनातनः. That other than this avyakta, in which all the beings they merge, avyakta means unmanifest. When Prajapati goes to sleep, everything becomes unmanifest and is born again. Again goes to unmanifest and is born again. So that is called avyakta, unmanifest. But that Ishvara Tattva, that Supreme Brahma, is also avyakta, is also indicated as avyakta because it is also unmanifest. But it is different from this unmanifest. It is beyond both cause as well as effect. This unmanifest, wherein all the beings merge, they remain there potentially and they are born again. But one who becomes one with Brahma, Brahma is also unmanifest and in Brahma is beyond both cause as well as effect. So parastasmattu bhavaha anyaha avyaktaha. Other than this, there is another avyakta, avyaktat sanatanaha, which is sanatan avyakta, eternal, unmanifest. The eternal, supreme, unmanifest reality. The Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. The supreme reality which is beyond all modification, which is beyond all change. With respect to this world, we talk about Ishvara as the cause of this world. But when we understand, when the scriptures reveal that supreme tattva, the ultimate reality, it is beyond all cause, beyond all effect, it is free from all changes. So that is called avyakta sanatana, eternal, unmanifest, which remains unchanged, unmodified, free from all changes, even when all this creation happens again and again and gets dissolved. Yassa sarveshu bhuteshu natshatsu na vinashyati. Even when all beings are born and they get destroyed, that supreme avyakta remains unchanged, undisturbed, undestroyed. It remains undestroyed. See, just like when we see in water, lot of bubbles are created in water. They remain in water and they get dissolved again in water. But even when billions of bubbles are born in water, remain in water and get dissolved in water, water doesn't undergo any modification, any change. Similarly, in that Supreme Brahma, who is also indicated as Avyakta, because he is also unmanifest, beyond all manifestation, beyond all names, forms, Nirgun Nirakar, Brahma, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That Brahma is like that water in which all these beings are born like bubbles, billions of them, they remain and get dissolved. All this cosmos and all this jagat is born like a bubble, remains, get dissolved. Bubbles are born, bubbles remain, bubbles get dissolved, but the water remains free of all changes, all modification. So parastasmattu bhavaha anyaha avyaktaha avyaktat sanatanaha. So this is different from this avyakta in which the beings get dissolved. So yassa sarveshu bhuteshu natshatsu na vinashyati. So even when all the beings are destroyed, that supreme avyakta remains free of all modification, all change. So when we gain moksha, we come to understand our oneness with that Brahma. That I am Atma, this our own self, is that supreme Brahma, which is Avyakta, which is free from all changes, indestructible, eternal, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Rupa. Therefore, at the time of death, when we drop this body, remembering Ishvara, because Ishvara is that Brahma only, when we remember Ishvara and leave this body, we come to understand our own oneness with Ishvara and remain merged in that Ishvara Tattva. So, yes, sarveshu bhuteshu natshatsu na vinashyati. Therefore, Bhagavan says now in the next verse, Avyaktoksara ityuktaha tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. So Bhagavan says कि अव्यक्तः अक्षरः इति उक्तः तम आहु परमाम गतिम. So that avyakta, that Brahma, that akshara means free from all changes, indestructible. That akshara Brahma avyakta is also indicated as paramam gatim. Iti uktaha tam ahu paramam gatim. That is the supreme gati. That is the supreme pada of that Ishvara. Ishvara is that Brahma Roop only. So that Brahma is Avyakta, Akshara, and Paramam Gatim as the supreme gati. When we gain moksha, gaining moksha means recognizing, realizing ourselves as that Param Atma, as that Brahma. Therefore, Bhagavan says, Yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Therefore, having attained this Param Dhama, having attained oneness with that Brahma, having attained oneness with Ishvara Tattva, Bhagavan says that Jiva is not born again. There is no more coming into samsara. There is no more bondage. That Jiva becomes free of all this samsara. Yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Bhagavan says that is my Param Dhama. See, whenever Ishvara, whenever Bhagavan Krishna speaks about himself as I, he always refers to himself as that Brahma only. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Therefore Bhagavan says, this is my supreme Dhama. That Brahma is my supreme abode. One who remembers me and leaves this body, or one who gains abidance in me, gains abidance in this dham only, and is not born again ever. One who knows Brahma is Brahma. Brahmavit Brahmaeva bhavati. One who knows Brahma is Brahma. There is no difference between Brahma and the knower of Brahma. So, one should strive to attain that Brahma. One should strive to attain oneness with that Brahma. So, when we are doing our sadhana, we can gain moksha here and now if we gain that abidance in that knowledge. Or we can gain moksha at the time of death if we leave this body remembering Ishvara by chanting his name or chanting Om or just remembering him. When we leave this body, we can gain moksha. Or we can go to a higher world like Brahmalok and thereafter gain moksha. Or we are born again like a yoga bhrashta, then continue with our sadhana and we gain moksha. But all others who do sakama karma, who do karmas, desire prompted actions, and also those who do sakam upasana, different rituals in order to fulfill their desires, then even after the fulfillment of desires, again more desires arises in their heart, and they continue in this samsara performing different types of karma. And even if they go to higher world like Swargalok or Brahmalok, they are again born in this world helplessly. Kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. They are born again in this world. Therefore, we should strive to attain moksha here and now by constantly meditating on Ishvara. So how can we attain Ishvara in a very simple way? How is it possible to gain moksha? Bhagwan had already given us an easier way before by remembering him constantly through his name, through his form. We can remember him constantly. Here also now Bhagwan tells us how we can attain that moksha in a simple way, effortlessly. So he says in the verse number 22, Purusha saparah partha bhaktya labhyastvananyaya yasyantastani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam. Bhagwan says, Purushasya parah partha, hey partha, that parah purusha means that Brahma. Brahma is indicated here as Param Purusha. Parah Purusha, who is residing in everyone's heart as their own self. Puri Shayanat Purnatvat Va Sa Parah Purusha. We have seen in the beginning also that Brahma alone is residing or is present in our own heart as our own self. हृदय कुहर मध्ये केवलम ब्रह्म मात्रम यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विष मनसा स्वाम चिन्वता मज्जता वा पवन चलन रोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम. That Brahma, which is indicated in our scripture as the very cause of this world, as the very substratum of this world, is our own self. So knowing ourself itself is called knowing Brahma. Realizing ourself itself is called realizing Brahma. And how we can do it? Chinvata majjata va pavana chalana rodhat atmanishto bhavatvam. Ramana Maharshi Ji says that you constantly do chintan of that Atma. You surrender to that Atma by total focusing your attention through pranayam, etc. Focus your attention on your own self, supreme self, and surrender to yourself. So that self, which is Turiya Atma, which is Brahma, is indicated here as Param Purusha. So Purushasya parah partha. How can we attain that Purusha? Bhagwan says, Bhaktya labhyah tu ananyaya. It's very, very important. Bhagwan reveals the secret. Bhagwan says you can attain that Purusha, means my own self, you can attain by bhakti. Bhaktya labhyah. That Purusha is attained through bhakti. But what bhakti? Ananyaya, Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti means single pointed devotion. Through single pointed devotion. Ananya means there is no other, our devotion is not towards anyone or anything else. When we are totally devoted only to that Ishvara alone. मेरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दूसरो ना कोई रे. With single pointed devotion to Ishvara. भक्त्या पार्थ भक्त्या लभ्य है तो अनन्यया यस्यांतस्तानि भूतानि येन सर्वमिदं ततम. And our Shankaracharya ji lies, what is this bhakti? Jnana lakshanaya ananyaya atma vishayaya yasya purushasya. Bhagwan says कि अनन्य भक्ति is of the nature of jnana, of the nature of knowledge of the self. We have to gain proper knowledge of this Supreme Self, our Turiya Atma, and focus our whole attention, focus all our dedication toward that Atma alone. See, jnana, knowledge, gives us that focus. Knowledge gives us a direction. Therefore, we have seen in the 7th chapter also, Bhagavan has mentioned कि बहुनाम जन्मनाम अन्ते ज्ञानवान माम प्रपद्यते. That after many lifetimes, a person gains proper knowledge, and having gained that knowledge, surrenders to me. Similarly, here also Bhagavan says, what is bhakti? Bhakti is first to gain proper knowledge of our own Supreme Self and dedicate ourselves to that. Bas. Dedicate your entire energy, entire passion, entire personality, all karmas, everything to that Ishvara and Ishvara alone, who is our own self. That's called Ananya Bhakti. Narad Bhakti Sutra also, Naradji talks about Ananya Bhakti. He says, Anyashrayanam tyagaha ananyata. Give up all other dependence on everything else. And totally dedicated, total in love with our own Supreme Self. That is called Ananya Bhakti. Through chanting Bhagwan's name, by doing puja, by singing his glories, by dedicating our actions to Ishvara, by doing a lot of satsang, by listening to Bhagavad Katha, by all these various means, we can develop that love for Bhagwan. We should be in total love of God. It's called the God intoxicated person. We should get totally, thoroughly intoxicated with God. There was a great saint in Maharashtra. It's called Kumhar, Gora Kumbhar. He was a pot maker, but a great devotee of Bhagwan, always chanting his name, Vitthala, 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 Vitthala. He had a little child, and he used to work at home only making pots. So first they prepare the clay. So soft clay is taken, and you put water, and then you knead that clay. Just like while making roti also we knead the flour. In the same way, the clay is taken and water is put, and then you knead it. And that is generally done with their legs. So they keep stepping on it and kneading that clay, preparing it, making it soft so that they can make those pots. So while doing his work also, he used to constantly chant Bhagwan's name. He was totally God intoxicated. Gora Kumbhar, a great saint. So he was working and kneading that clay and chanting Vitthala, 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 Vitthala. His small child was there, crawling. So that child happened to come there where his father was working. And this person was totally unaware. So the child just came near his feet and all, but he was totally unaware. He is Vitthala, 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 and then he stepped on his own child and started kneading that clay along with that child also. And the child got he died. His wife was inside. She came out. She came to know what has happened, and then she also shouted, "What is this?" And he also realized, "Oh, I did not realize. I was totally engrossed in singing Bhagwan's name." But then he prayed to Bhagwan that, "Oh Bhagwan, I was constantly remembering you, totally dedicating myself to you. And you have promised in Bhagavad Gita that you will take care. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham." That you will take care of all my needs. I have totally surrendered to you. So please take care, do whatever you feel is right. And a miracle happened. The child who had died just woke up from that, in that same body. He came up alive. So Gora Kumbhar prayed to Bhagwan, thanked him, and continued his worship of Bhagwan. So such stories are there of these great saints and sages in our country who had dedicated their whole life to Ishvara. Ananya Bhakti means they had that love only for Ishvara. So Purushasya Parah Partha Bhaktya Labhyaha tu Ananyaya. That Purusha, that Parapurusha, that Brahma, that Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, that Turiya Atma, our own Supreme Self, we can attain through Ananya Bhakti. So more about this. The second line of this verse is still remaining. More about this we will see in our class tomorrow. So till then, you take care of yourself. Be safe, happy, peaceful, healthy. Do your work. And remember Ishvara all the time. Constantly. By chanting his name, one can remember Ishvara all the time. And develop that sincere, single-pointed love for Ishvara. Okay? And we will meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 श्री राम जय जय राम, 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 जय जय राम, जय जय राम। बोले सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।